Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Otaku having come at you with another episode review. Today I'll be reviewing the episode of Sabo that aired on August the 22nd. It's a revamp of everything from Dressrosa basically, also a little bit of the past between Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, and what Sabo was doing in Dressrosa they were while Luffy was basically staging a revolution against Doflamingo in the kingdom of Dressrosa, and how he got to where he was. Basically, we got to see that Sabo was basically the spy for Koala. He went around checking, trying to see what was bad with the country, what was causing it, and he actually found out that they were basically running a slave ring after sneaking past some of the guards down to the underground factory, which Koala had already basically said, we're pretty sure there's a trade port, an underground factory, because there's ships coming in at the middle of the night and then they're leaving. And we all know that the Dressrosa has like the 10 o'clock rule where everybody has to be inside at 10 o'clock. Or if they're a toy and they're out past 10 o'clock, they get scrapped. So we got to basically revamp everything that was in Dressrosa. We didn't get much out of it. But what did we get? That's the question. We, as viewers, people who watch the anime for story driven plot, we didn't really get much out of it. But for people who make AMVs, people who want to find the baddest fights without sifting through 300 or 400 episodes, they got they got an easier access to the fights that happen at Dressrosa, the better fights, like the Quarter Coliseum finals, some of the fights in the Quarter Coliseum, and the Law and Doflamingo little skits of the fight. We don't get the whole fight of everything that happened, but we got the skits that could make into a good AMV without having to sift, because as I've tried making a couple AMV videos myself and I actually have one up on my channel. That gets kind of annoying and it takes a long time to do. The people that really do AMVs put a lot of work into it, and if you see an AMV that you like, you should actually give it a like, even if you don't like giving things a like, because it's well worth it because they spend a lot of time making it, especially if it's any good. Um, at the end of this episode, we actually found out that there'll be a new One Piece movie coming in 2016. Well, Oda is supposed to comment on that in Shonen Jump's 40th weekly issue, which is our 40th issue, and that comes out August the 31st. If you want to know, and he'll tell a little bit about the movie. So I'm assuming we're gonna find out who the main antagonist is, maybe a little bit of what actually is going on in the movie, and I'm hoping there's gonna be some foreshadowing about some new abilities Luffy may get and some more in-depth view of the fourth gear, which will be at the end of Dressrosa by the time this movie comes out, and probably decently past it if you're watching the anime, because Dressrosa is already over with in the manga. So this movie should be scheduled along to end around the same time or a little bit after Dressrosa ends, so everybody won't miss any spoilers. Like they won't get any spoilers from the movie that they would have seen in Dressrosa, which is the fourth gear. I'm sorry if I spoiled that for you. I'll put a spoiler warning in the beginning. But what I think we also got from this episode was revenue, because they probably shortly after that episode they announced that they were gonna make the movie for 2016, and it's been about 2 years since Film Z came out, pretty close to that. So this episode probably gave enough revenue to help push the limit of where the revenue needed to be for the new movie. And so that's what I'm thinking anyway. Because other than that, there really wasn't too much of a reason to make this episode of Sabo, because they really didn't tell us anything. Sort of like the episode of Nami and all that. It's basically just a recap if you don't want to watch all the episodes of what's been going on. And you can pretty much just watch all the recaps of the episodes of people, and that would give you a good idea of what's going on in One Piece. But this revenue has probably pushed the budget for the 2016 movie to the point to where they can make it look good and hopefully phenomenal like Film Z did. The art and animation in Film Z was awesome to me. Other people might dislike it because if you go back and look at like the One Piece movie 6 or whatever, that was terrible animation. Like I've never really had a problem with One Piece animation like everyone else has, but the sixth movie was there was better stuff made in the early 80s or 90s. It was terrible. Um, but it's gradually gotten better. It sucked for the first eight or so movies, but Ever since One Piece Film Z and the 3D movie Wire Cruise came out, it's been on point pretty much. And not only did we get in the beginning of the episode a little bit of feels from the past with Ace dying and all of that, and then at the end with Sabo, how he felt about the whole scenario. Oh, it didn't leave us hanging for about 10 minutes of the hour or so we watched, and we actually got a bit of the feels. He opened it and ended it with the feels, but it's from the same thing. I really liked it though. You might be a hater on it. Even though it was a revamp, I really liked it. I think for chronicalizing what it did a great job. So overall, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10, which is really rare for me for an episode. But that's all, folks. Peace.